is 3.2, number 7, number 2. Number 7 in the book, number 2 online. 3.2, 3.1. Was 3.1? 3.2. Is this a test question? Yes, this is a test question. Do I care about what the directions say? No. Okay, this is a test question, so you might want to write it down. It is a test question. Now, do I care what the, do I care what the directions say? No. So I'm going, I thought I had, did I not have my whiteboard pulled up? I guess not. Hold on a second. Thought I had it pulled up. I did watch Jeepers Creepers, all 3 of them this weekend. My son had a little bonfire thing to go to. They were drinking beer, whatever. It's 12 years old. Anyway, he went to that, and that was like 3 hours. And I've been wanting to watch Jeepers Creepers because I've never watched the second and the third. I watched the first one.
Oh my gosh, the second one's my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, they're the kind of scary you need to get drunk before you watch it, but it was pretty good. I mean, I kind of outlandish a little bit, but it was good. I enjoyed watching them.
Mm.
The first one I didn't like because it was so.
No, it's not my favorite.
Yeah, it was so tedious. I'm like, really? But
Yeah.
second and third one, the third one was almost like Sharknado. The third one was a little bit out there. But,
it really was.
Yeah, the second one on the bus, that was funny.
Mm. Yeah.
All right. Anybody else see any good movies? How was Venom?
Venom was great.
It was?
It was great.
So what was the end thing? What was the preview of coming attractions for Venom? You know, the end scene, what was it?
Yeah. They try to kill off Venom.
Oh, so it's Venom. It's not anything to do with the other?
No.
Oh, it's Venom.
They're basically, there's going to be another.
I like Tom Hardy, but I don't care nothing about Venom.
It was kind of comical, but they held it just right comically. But it was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Well, Venom's good, and Michael Myers was good.
Mm.
But I would suggest if you have over 30 or 40 people at your apartment, or to not dance on the same floor. Okay. Have y'all ever heard of harmonics before? If everybody does the same step on a bridge, the bridge will collapse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, maybe we need to teach more of that in school. It's called math. But anyway.
Clemson finally found something weaker than their schedule.
Yeah, that's funny. Where'd you hear that from? That ain't yours.
It was on Facebook.
Oh, that is funny. I'm going to have to put that. Clemson finally has something weaker than their schedule. That's funny. Oh, that's so funny. All right. So here we go. Let's go over here. Ryan. Let's go with negative x squared minus 3x minus 2 is equal to 0. Negative x squared minus 3x plus blank is equal to 2 plus blank. Negative, parentheses, x squared plus 3x plus blank is equal to negative 2 plus negative 1 times blank. And I'm just going to highlight this negative right here, negative 1, that negative 1. So you remember, whatever you factor out, you have to multiply. So anyway, that's going to give us a 3 is b, so 3 halves squared is what?
9/4.
9/4, thank you. And that's going to give us negative 1 times x plus 3 halves, quantity squared, is equal to negative 2 over 1 minus 9/4, negative 1 x plus 3 halves, quantity squared, is equal to negative 8/4 minus 9 fourths. Negative 1 times x plus 3 halves quantity squared is equal to negative 17 fourths. Okay, at this point, let's see what we got. Well, we know our y-intercept is 0, what? Negative 2?
Mm-hmm.
And we know our vertex is negative 3 halves and 17 fourths. And we know the intercept form of this equation is y is equal to negative 1 x plus 3 halves quantity squared minus or plus 17 fourths. So I'm going to take my handy dandy green marker and we're going to highlight those three, because like I say, I could care less what the homework question's asking for, because if you can do everything that I'm doing in the green highlights, if you can do all that, you can ace my test. Okay? So now let's find what? What do we find after all that?
The x-intercepts, or the x values.
Thank you. So you were the one that paid attention. All right, so here we go. Negative 1 times x plus 3 halves quantity squared is equal to negative 17 fourths. I'm going to divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1. X plus 3 halves quantity squared is equal to 17 fourths. Take the square root of both sides. X plus 3 halves is equal to the square root of 17 over 2. X plus, well, no, not x plus. That's going to be x is equal to, well, let's see, if 16 is 4, what do you think 17 is?
4.1.
You are so smart. Minus 3 over 2. And x is equal to, what's 4 minus 3? 4.1 minus 3.
1.1.
And what's half of $1.10? 55 cents, Hubert. That's right, class.
Sorry.
What's negative $4.10 minus $3?
Negative 7.1.
And what's half of $7 and $3.55?
Yes, sir.
So now our x-intercepts are 0.55, 0, and negative 3.55, 0. And that goes green also. Now what are you going to do? Now that you got all this information?
Graph it.
Graph it. So do that.
Hubert, I have a question.
Oh no, that's called communication. What?
The very first step at the top, you took the negative 2 or the y-intercept and you put it on the right. You took C and you put it on the right. And somehow in between step 2 and step 3, that 2 on the right turned into a negative 2.
Negative 2. Yep.
Okay. We're going to make it. Why didn't you say something then?
Well, I didn't know if I was
noticed
like
it, but I
missing
didn't want to
something.
say
Oh yeah, everybody noticed it. And Bubba on the back row, what do you say? Oh man, you don't know what you're doing. Yeah, you don't even know what day it is. Yeah, everybody, okay, everybody say, when I say 3, I want everybody to say, yeah, I thought that was wrong. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I thought that was wrong.
Y'all suck. All right, so 2, what's negative? That'd be a negative 1/9. Y'all help me out. Negative 1 over 4. Sorry.
Yeah. Negative 1 over 4.
Negative 1 over 4. And then that's going to be negative 1 over 4 here. Negative 1 over 4, which would be positive 1 over 4. Y'all check me. Positive 1 over 4. The square root of 1, let me see if I can do that on my calculator. Square root of 1 is 1. So 1 minus 3 is negative 2. So that's going to be, I don't forget what I said. What did I say? Negative 1, and then negative 2. Y'all check my math.
Yeah.
So that's going to change. Okay, next time you find an error, make sure Bubba in the back is aware of it so y'all can tell me that I'm wrong, okay?
Okay.
Negative 1, comma 0, and negative 2, comma 0. Now, what else would tell you if something was wrong? Let's say I didn't catch that. Let's say you didn't say anything. Would I have caught it?
No,
Yes
sir.
or no? Yes.
No.
Why? Because the graph would not line up right. Okay? The graph would not line up right. It wouldn't line up like it's supposed to. That's why you sketch it. The sketching is not extra work. The sketching is to verify that all the points do what? Line up. Let me somebody write down those what I had before. Negative what? Or 0.55 and what?
0.
Okay, so let's look at the vertex. I'm going to do this in red to see what would happen if I hadn't found the error, or if Miss Shuttleworth hadn't waited till the last possible minute to say something.
I didn't know there's some magic.
0, negative 2 is right there. And our vertex is negative 3/2, which is 1.5. Okay, 1.5. And then what is 17/4? 17/4 is 4.25. Okay, somebody didn't, that's not right. It's 4.25. Should be right about here. Negative 1.5, 4.25. Right there. Or was that, okay, no, that'd be negative. I'm sorry, I didn't change that. This is positive 1/4, so that's going to be positive 1/4. Change that. I didn't change it. Okay, so that's going to be right there. See, it wouldn't have lined up, but we're doing it in red. Okay, so what was my other one? Point what? 0.55.
Yeah.
And what was that? No, that was positive 0.55. And negative what?
3.
Does it line up?
A little bit.
Yes. Oh, well, no, not the bottom one.
Okay, let me ask you again, drunk people. Does it line up? No, it doesn't line up. Because this right here, you can't have a parabola do that. Okay? So, that's, yeah, exactly, it's going to cross down here somewhere. So, as you can tell, not only will it not line up, it's going to tell you if you've made a mistake. And if I would have sketched this, I would have saw that, and I would have said, what I always say, something's not right. And then I'll go back and find it. So that's why you sketch it. So let's take a minute and go with the correct version. And we'll do it in black. So 0, negative 2. And then negative 3.5, that's negative, or negative 3/2 is negative 1.5 1/4. That's your vertex. And then negative 1 and 0, and then negative 2 and 0. And that is your, so let's write down what else is left. Domain, range, increasing, decreasing, line of symmetry. Domain is what?
All real numbers.
Range is from negative infinity to what? What's our Y? 1/4?
Mm-hmm.
And then increasing from negative infinity to negative 3/2, and decreasing from negative 3/2 to what? Infinity. And then line of symmetry is always your x value. X is equal to negative 3/2. It's the line of symmetry. Okay, now who has questions?
Nope.
So, if you can find all four things right here, so that's part one. And then sketch, that's part two. And then part three is be able to tell all of that. If you can do all of that, you can ace the homework as well as the test. Now, what are some of y'all finding out? How many problems is this that we've done? Probably about 20 in your notebook. Somebody look in your notebook and count right quick. Since we've started completing the square, look in your notebook and see how many, roundabout. See how many we've done. Roundabout. About 20?
Yeah.
Now what are you finding out as we keep doing these? Come on, go ahead and spit it out. Somebody's going to say it. What are you finding out the more we do? Y'all not going to say it, are you? Y'all don't want to admit it. The more you do these, the what? The easier it gets. So that means the more problems you do, the more work you put into it, the easier it gets. Wow.
How that works.
Y'all need to write that down. The more work you put into something, the better it is. What a concept.
If I studied, I would know it.
Yeah. If you work hard too. Yeah. It's a concept that not many people believe in.
I've never been taught that.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's supposed to be given to you. All right. Let's see, that's 3.2. Here's some more 3.2s. That's 3.27. This is, oh me. That's 3.231. Okay, this one's next. This is 3.231/7. This is number 7. This is a test question, yes.
Okay.
So let's start. Negative 4x² plus 48x minus 142 is equal to 0. And I'll go ahead and start you off by moving 12 over. 4x² plus 48x plus blank is equal to positive 142 plus blank. There you go. Now the reason this is a good test question is because it's one that's actually very what? Easy. Unless y'all break an anvil with a banana. And some of y'all are very good at that.
Tell me I'm good at something.
No, you suck. So, is there going to be another Halloween?
I believe
Oh yeah, there's going to be another one.
wearing a jumpsuit, fireproof.
I think, did you notice how well, I can't say it. Shut up.
That's kind of hard to say, but you can.
I will say there's two indicators. Well, there's three indicators there's three indicators there might be another movie. And believe you me, I'm a Halloween, Friday the 13th connoisseur. I've watched so many of them, I can tell you if there's going to be another one or not.
You would think that every time they transport this man, it's institute.
Well, see, the doctor was in on it.
Yeah, I see that.
The doctor he was wanting, the doctor killed that daggum policeman. So, the doctor was wanting Freddie to go out there and kill some people. Or not Freddie. Thinking of dang old Kruger. Dang old Jason. I was fixing to call him Jason. Michael.
Well, you know how much force it had to take it would have taken.
Jason's the one that gets struck by lightning and comes back to life. All right, what's the next step? Somebody tell me what the next step is.
You factor out -4.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
-4, and that gives you x squared minus 12x, use your calculator, plus blank is equal to plus 142 plus -4 times blank. Okay, now I'm going to try to do this in my head. 12 divided by 2, 6, and 6 squared is 36.
Genius.
Y'all know why I'm making fun of that. It's because people actually do take 12 and divide it by 2 and square it on their calculator.
That's sad.
Yeah. You also got students that can't make change and can't spell mom backwards. -4 x minus 6 quantity squared is equal to, I'm going to do an extra step in here for people that need it, minus 4 times 36 is 144. Help me out.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And -4 times x minus 6 quantity squared is equal to -2.
Yep.
I'll tell you what. All right, now go ahead and start writing down everything that you have. Your y-intercept, your vertex, your intercept form, and we'll put the x-intercepts over here. So our y-intercept is -142. Our vertex is +6 and what? 2. And our intercept form is y is equal to, or f of x is equal to, or p of x is equal to the same thing, -4 times x minus 6 quantity squared plus what? 2. So there's all the information so far that we have. Now we find the what? X-intercepts. -4 times x minus 6 quantity squared is equal to -2. X minus 6 quantity squared is equal to 1/2. Oh, we might as well quit now, because we got to take the square root of 2, and we can't do that without a calculator. So x minus 6 is equal to, square root of 1 is what? 1.
1.
Square root of 2. So we're going to have to get that radical out of the what? Out of the denominator, Hubert. So I'm going to multiply by the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. That's going to give us x minus 6 is equal to 1 times square root of 2 is square root of 2 over 2. Plus 12 over 2. So x is equal to square root of 2 plus 12 over 2. And we're going to do that in our heads because we can, because we're not inept. All right, what is the square root of 2? 1.4, right? So I'm going to take this up here. So x is equal to positive or negative 1.4 plus 12 over 2. Okay, so let's use some math. $1.40 plus $12 is what? $13.40. What's half of $13.40? Dang old 650, 670? Somebody check me.
Yeah, 6.7. Yeah.
All right, you owe $1.40 to somebody, and you got $12 in your pocket. You still have in your pocket what? $10.60, right? What's half of $10.60?
$5.30.
Simply a miracle. Now let's see if everything lines up, see if we did the math right. So I take my handy dandy, I'm going to take my green highlighter. I like these. There's a reason I'm doing this, people. I'm trying to clean it up so that way you know what you need for the test. That's what I'm trying to do. That's why I'm highlighting the 4 and the 3 steps, and I'm trying to get everybody, kind of synchronize everybody to get to, not programming, I didn't say program, but synchronize. Go through these steps. All right, 0 and negative 142, that's way the heck down here. Okay? 6 and 2, so 6 and 2, somewhere up there. And we've got a 6.7, well, this is 6. So 6.7 is over here, and 5.3 is over here. Does it line up? It looks like it does. Well, wait a minute, it's opening downward. Well, is it supposed to? Yes, why?
Yes, sir.
Because
the
of
negative
the
sign.
negative 4. Because of the negative. The 4 tells you it's going to be skinny. All right, so let's take our handy dandy blue marker and let's write everything. Let's do part 3. Part 3, domain, all reals. If you miss that, you don't what? You don't tell anybody you missed it. Range, negative infinity to 2. Why don't you tell anybody? Because you're advertising your ignorance. All right, increasing. Increasing from negative infinity to 6. Decreasing from what? 6 to what? Infinity. So, let's look at our 3 parts. I'll take let's do, what's a weird color? Let's go with magenta. Here is part 1. Part 1 includes this and that. Okay, that's part 1. Part 2, oops, I can't even write Roman numerals correctly. I suck. Part 1. Oh, there's part 1. Part 2, we'll do in that nasty burnt orange color. Part 2 is right there. You graphic. And then part 3, brown. That's my favorite color, next to yellow. And we forgot the line of symmetry. The line of symmetry is x is equal to what? 6? Yeah. So let's do that right here. X is equal to 6. That's the line of symmetry.
So you put it increasing or decreasing?
Increasing from negative infinity to positive 2 or 6, sorry. And then from 6 to infinity is decreasing. The only thing, the only thing that is in terms of y is what? What's the only thing
range.
in terms of y?
The range.
Thank you.
Everything else is X.
And who's got a question on that one? These are good questions you're sending because they're all test questions. Nobody's got a question. I just go over this stuff so well, nobody has a question.
That one was pretty good.
Nope.
I like
That's
Well, at least
exactly
one.
it.
What?
You did a great job.
Be quiet. 3.2, 55/11.
All right, I'll take it. So,
Okay, we aren't doing this yet. Okay, we will do that. Well, find the equation of the quadratic equation satisfying the conditions. Okay, we haven't done this, so this is not going to be on the test, not the one I'm giving this week. Express the answer in terms of blah, 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 blah. Okay, first of all, I mean, it's not very difficult, but we'll go ahead and do it. You can put it in your notes. We know this vertex right here gives us H and what?
Okay.
Okay, all right. But you got to remember that the 3 is what? The opposite. So what you would do is you would plug it in. P of x is equal to A times x plus what? 3? Quantity squared minus what?
4.
4. Okay, now, you've got shortcut number what here? Shortcut number 1, Hubert, that's right. So P of x is equal to A times x squared plus 6x plus 9 minus 4. Now what? That's not rhetorical. I'm asking y'all, what's the next step? Well, technically, you can distribute the positive 1 or these two right here are going to what? The 9 and the negative 4? Well, basically, x squared plus 6x. What's 9 minus 4?
5.
5. Now, what is this right here? This is x and what? Y. Well, this is a fancy way of writing what? Now, what am I going to do with that x and y?
plug it in.
Plug and chug. So 196 is equal to A times 7 squared plus 6 times 7. And somebody take 49 plus 42 plus 5. 49 plus 42 is 91. 96. Somebody help me out.
Yes.
So 196 is equal to A times 96. Divide the 196 by 96. What do you get? Well, let's do a fraction. Or what is What does it come out to be? I think we've done something wrong because it's supposed to come out to 2. So somebody check my math. No, check my math with the 7 plus 6 times 7 is 42, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So that comes out to be 96.
Mhm.
Okay, I've done something, I've missed something wrong somewhere because somebody, what's the 196 divided by 96?
2.04.
Okay, so it does come out to be 2, but it's not exactly 2. I still think I've got it, I believe I've got an error somewhere.
Or it would be exactly 2 at least 8.
Yeah. I still believe I've got an error somewhere. Somebody help me out.
Look.
Look for the error.
I feel like adding the 9 to the -4, that something wasn't quite right about that because the A is still out there and it's still technically in parentheses.
Yeah, but this is a
until-
1 right here. This is a 1A. And I could distribute that 1 across here and leave the A out there. I mean, you can do that. And plus, when you put that A in there, all you're going to do is factor it back out to solve for A. So, I'm just going to see right quick what they did because, yeah, there's what I did. H is equal to, they plugged it in. They got that, and then let's see what they did the shortcut. No, they went ahead and plugged it in there. Okay, that may cause, okay, let's do that. They did that first. Okay, so let's go back here. They're going to do the quadratic at the end. So here is my y. Y is equal to A times x plus 3 quantity squared minus 4. All right, what is y? 196
Yeah.
is equal to A times x, which is 7. Yeah, that makes it a whole lot easier. Y'all see what makes it a whole lot easier? Squared minus 4. And what's 7 plus 3? 196 is equal to A times 10 squared minus 4. 196 is equal to 100A minus 4. Bring the 4 over. There we go. 200 is equal to what? 100A divide by 100. Divide by 100. A is equal to what?
2.
There we go. That makes it a whole lot better. I just did it. I should have done it at the beginning. My bad. So that's going to be y, p of x is equal to 2 times x plus 3 quantity squared minus 4. Now do the quadratic. This is where it's better to do it before than after. Because, like you said, the -4 doesn't play right with the square. And I guess that's why. When it's in this form right here, it's easier to what? Plug and chug. They filled the vending machine up with gummy worms again. Well, it's better than other stuff in there. At least it's just sugar. When you crave it like I do. 2x squared plus 6x plus 9 minus 4. Now you distribute the 2. 2x squared plus 12x plus what? 18 minus 4. And now you can combine the 18 minus 4. 2x squared plus 12x, what, plus 14? That should be your answer. And we'll hit similar question and y'all put another one in your notes.
When you, so wait to put in the 9 minus 4. Don't.
It's easier if you put it in this one.
Okay.
And then do the shortcut last.
And the problems are so limited. I don't know.
What?
So the 3 problems.
I can't hear.
Mine are still limited to only doing it 3 times.
Okay, I need to
I
fix
don't know how
that.
many times.
All right, similar question. There you go, y'all do that one. I'll write it on the board for those that can't see it. Things I do for y'all. The vertex is -3, -4, and the point that it's going through is 5 and 188. All right, I need some English people to help me out with something. What's the difference between that and that?
Nothing, you're just shortening it. I mean,
I know, but is there a difference?
not.
Well, yeah, one's like, if you put THRU on your essay, then you'd get a point off.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, they're both in the dictionary.
Really?
I don't know.
I mean, I know the first through is usually like used for the drive-through of a place.
Exactly. So I'm gonna look it up. While y'all are working, I'm gonna look this up. Because I'm not an English person and I have to use Google to look stuff up like this. And since y'all all knew the answer and all spoke it up, which y'all didn't, through versus through. I think you were right. You was not entirely correct because they're both meaning the same thing. One is formal, one is informal.
It's like text lingo almost, like.
Yeah.
Is through grammatically correct? And all these definitions say informal versus formal. So they're not telling you not to use it. They're just saying that one is informal and one is formal. That's all these definitions. There's 3 definitions and they all say the same thing.
In other words, it's wrong.
In other words, they won't tell you it's wrong, but I guess, I don't know why, but
I've never used
I believe it goes back to the origin. This is a Russian word. That's it. It's Russian. They say Hillary's going to run in 2020. Good. Let her run. That'll help the Democrats out tremendously. That woman is like something that won't flush. You know, there's a time and a place where people need to step aside and let younger people take over. You know what I'm saying? That woman,
Yes.
she wants that first woman. I don't think that's going to happen. May happen for Nikki Haley, but it's not going to happen for her. There's a lot of her own people that won't even vote for her. I don't think her husband votes for her. Oh, Bill. Bill's funny. I love the things they have on the pictures of him looking at women, and I think that's hilarious.
What in the world?
You know, on Facebook, they have these captions of Bill Clinton looking this way and looking this way, and you just have to forget it. Okay, so we have the question asking, so we're going to plug and chug. So y, or f of x, is equal to a times x plus h, quantity squared, plus k. And we said that the -4 would be right here, and then the x plus 3 would be right here, and then the a is here, and then f of x is here. Now, since we're talking about formal and informal, we will informally call f of x what? Y.
Y.
That's the redneck way. Informal is just another way to say redneck. Okay? So if you're a redneck, you use the word through. T-H-R-U. Okay? And if you're a redneck, we're going to use y. Is equal to a times x. What's our x? Well, I'm just going to write x plus 3, quantity squared, minus 4. Now we're ready to plug and chug. So we're done with this. The only thing left is the 5 and the 188. So plugging in 188, 5, I'm sorry. A times 5 plus 3, quantity squared, minus 4. $188 is equal to a times 8 squared minus 4. $188 is equal to a times 64 minus 4. 192 is equal to a divided by 64, and that would be what, 3?
Yep.
So now you take that a and back substitute into that one. Put your BS right here. And now we have our final answer. Well, not final. F of x, turn it back into sophisticated. And our a is 3 times x plus 3, quantity squared, minus 4. Now finish it. So what do y'all think about the 7,000 plus people coming up through Guatemala and Mexico?
What?
I don't see no problem with it once they get citizenship.
I agree with you 100%. But they don't want citizenship. They just want to come into America. I said, what do y'all think of the 7,000 plus people coming up through Guatemala and Mexico wanting to come to the United States?
I had no idea about that.
Say it.
I'm breathing. Back to the breath. Back to the breath. It's called news. Y'all need to watch it.
I hate the news. Good Lord.
Yeah, let's just put our head in the sand and be ignorant the rest of our lives.
That's pretty much what I do.
Ignorant. Y'all know how to spell ignorant, don't you?
Yeah.
It's I-G-N-R-T. Ignorant.
Amen. You were telling me there's been a war going on for 12 years.
I'm not going to say it. F of x is equal to 3 times x squared plus 6x plus 9 minus 4. Somebody will tell my boss that I brought up the people coming up and we should throw them out. Somebody will call them and tell them that. All I did was ask a question. And I agreed with your statement. When they become legal citizens, they welcome into the United States, and that's true.
Yeah, if they're not willing to be a citizen, then they have no business here. So.
Oh my gosh, you're racist.
Oh.
3x squared plus 18x plus 27 minus 4. 3x squared plus 18x, and what's 27 minus 4?
I think it's
23.
It's a miracle. That's when Jeepers Creepers comes back, every 23rd year. Every 23rd year for 23 days. Let's see what the answer is. 3x squared. I'm not typing all that in. 3.
I don't know. Over on Halloween, I kind of felt like they missed out on the actual aspect of the holiday.
Good. I hate Halloween. So I noticed that too. They didn't have a lot of Halloween stuff in the scenes.
I mean, they had that one like high school.
Yeah, but that's it. I thought it was good. I don't like Halloween. 3x squared plus 18x plus 23.
Got it right.
But Jamie Lee Curtis played a good part.
Too fast.
Be something if she couldn't play that part without the guns.
Yeah.
But she has her right to be against guns. All right. So hit. Similar question. I want to have a third one. Okay. One because Mr. Page just walked in. I want him to feel a part of the class.
No,
But
I
we're
didn't
gonna
have to take this class.
What?
I just found out I didn't even have to take this class.
Why? What's your major? Tell me what your major is.
Nursing.
You need a college. I think you need a college transferable, but most people take 103 and 120.
I've taken both of those.
Well, why'd you take this class? Don't say because I told you to. I didn't tell
No,
you to.
you didn't. No, somebody else told me to. Somebody that was doing my degree.
Well, are you
Somebody
associate in
else.
science?
Yeah.
Well, associate in science, you need a lot of maths and science to fill in those spots.
They said that I had all that though.
Okay.
And I don't know.
That's what I'm taking. Isn't it?
See, you might not need to take it either.
It all depends on how many sciences. So you must have had a lot of sciences.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you got a lot of sciences, then that fills them up. But see, I told 2 or 3 students Friday, I had my pre-advised. I have all mine on Friday. That's because we don't have classes. And I told them to take 103, 120, and 110. And a lot of them said, why do I need to take all those? I said, or you could take a biology, because that's 4 hours, and then a math, because they needed 8 hours, or no, 7 hours. They needed 7 hours. And I said you could take 2 biologies, or you take a biology and math, or you can take 3 maths. I said, but you got 7 hours, so you got to cover that. But they had a lot of sciences, but they still needed some math, so it works out. So, but that's why the pre-advising is so important. You need to go by and see your advisor, because they go through and they check your degree works, and make sure you check the degree works also, because it tells you what you need. But you have to what's that word? Read it. Yeah, you have to read it. Kind of like what y'all don't do to the handouts. You know.
What handout?
Yeah, what handout? All right, I'm gonna hit this one. This is a new one, so go ahead and write it down. And this is the third one that's in your notes. So y'all should be able to do this one, even if I do put it on the test, which I won't, because this test that I'm going to give you probably Wednesday will just be completing the square. So we may have 2 or 3 tests in Unit 2. We may have a couple of tests.
So the test is all, is it 3.2?
3.1 and 3.2.
But the 3.3 and 3.4?
Well, it might be on a later test.
So it's not necessarily due tonight, because I have.
The homework, well, no.
Okay.
3.1 and 3.2 is due tonight, but I'll extend it till Thursday because that's when we're going to actually go over the test. I'm going to go over a test in class for you.
What about changing the temp number?
I need to do that too, and I keep forgetting to do that. I'm sorry.
I think I'm gonna stand strike.
Somebody stay after class and remind me to do that. All right. So we've got a vertex. We've got a vertex of, this is that pen that don't write very well. I think the battery must be low in it. Wait a minute. Go down to the front desk and ask for 2 of these, please. Tell her my styluses are going bad. So they're not used to it because they're not used to a teacher actually using these boards. So they're not used to the styluses going dead.
You know what they would do? They'd probably come over and be like, you don't even have a spot board.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Anyway, let me hit this again and try it again. Vertex is equal to -1, -3, and it's going through a point of 6 and 95. So here we have A and H. That's our, I'm sorry. This pencil's got, this thing's got me aggravated. H and K. There's H and there's K. Remember, H is always what? Opposite. So, here's our handy-dandy general form of a line. F of X is equal to A times X minus H squared plus K. Oops, plus 6.
H is always opposite of what?
It's always the opposite of what so if you got a -3, if that's a -1, then you're going to put a +1 right here.
Okay.
It's always the opposite. F of X is equal to A times X plus 1 quantity squared, and that's going to be -3. Now, once we plug that in, this goes away. We don't need that anymore. All we got left is the 6 and the 95, which is X and what? Y. So now I'm going to change this to Y because that's a fancy way of writing Y. And now plug and chug. What are you going to plug and chug? What's the only thing you got? X and Y. She give you a hard time?
No.
They done gave up. Usually they say, "Are you sure?" He usually comes down here. They usually give you a hard time.
I would quit. That top equation should that last thing be +3?
No, it's not the opposite. The only thing the opposite is the H.
So it's plus nothing.
No, this is a -3. See this -3 right here? Oh, sorry. You're right. I didn't see that. -9. Oh, I see what the problem is.
Made in China.
No, the reason this pen is acting up is the little springy thingy is not springy. Still not stringy.
Skin messes up. You only bring one tip right with it. Have nothing to write with the rest of the day. And you tell your test.
I told you, it's the Russians. Y'all won't listen to me. Nothing is my fault, it's the Russians' fault.
See no commercials? I think it's direct TV. One thing leads to another and you end up in a ditch.
Yep. There we go, now it's writing. I tell you, I'm amazing. All right, 95, look at there, is equal to, dang old critical thinking, x plus 1 quantity squared minus 3. Y'all go ahead and finish it out, because now it's nothing but algebra. Meanwhile, I'm going to take some handy dandy highlighters and highlight some things for y'all. At -1. Things I do for y'all. Goes there. And I'll change it to yellow. At -3 goes there. And then this 6 goes there. Let's use that nasty burnt orange. Can't stand orange. Goes there. Okay, now that's all you need. To get your highlighters and just do what I did there. That's where everything goes. So technically, you can actually skip these 4 steps and just do it in one step. You actually can do that. So I'm going to take this over here, and I'm going to say 95 equal to A times 7 squared minus 3. What's 7 squared? Make sure you check it in your calculator. And I want to solve for A, so I got to get rid of the -3. It goes across the river. Comes a +3, that's 98. And how do I get rid of multiplying by 49? And that should be 2. Now what do I do with that 2? I back substitute it into my original, which is right here. So I'm going to back substitute right there. So here's part 1. Here's part 2, because you're doing the math. And part 3 is going to be up here. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 2 and plug it back into this with the star right here. F of x is equal to 2 times x plus 1 quantity squared minus what? Minus 3. Now, finish it and put it in a quadratic. So you just got to do shortcut number 1. So that's equal to 2 times x squared plus 2x plus 1 minus 3. Distribute 2x squared plus 4x plus 2 minus 3. And our answer is 2x squared plus 4x. What's 2 minus 3?
-1.
I'll leave that up there for a little bit. Now, does that help you answer that question? That's a good, very good test question, but it's not going to be on the test for completing the square. It'll be on your next test. And plus, y'all want me to divide your test up into mini tests. Why? Does that help or hurt your grade?
Help.
It helps it.
Help.
So, unless I don't like you, and then if I don't like you, then I'll give you zeros. And I think that all of you should be graded on whether I like you or not.
I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
Why?
I don't want to get a 0.
Why you don't think I like you, Mr. Bays? You're a nice guy.
They don't even know me and they're laughing.
What? No, I don't do that. In fact, that's one reason I use my Labs Plus is I don't see the grades except for when I turn them in or when somebody asks me to look at something. The furthest I have from the grades, the better. All right, so that's a good question. Put this down as a Unit 2B test. 2 is in Bravo, because that's what I'll call it. I'll call it Unit 2, or rest of Unit 2 test, or something like that. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, next question. We got a lot of them. That was that was our last 3.2 question. 3.3. 3.3. Hold on a second. 3.3, number 11 in the book, number 5 online. Which is the only equation which does not require step 1 of the method of completing the square? I see it. All right. First of all, let's go through and say which one is not. Okay? When you start completing the square, what's the first thing you have to do? Move what? Move C. So that one's not it, because you got to move that negative forward. Remember, it says, which is the only equation which does not require step 1. Okay? Well, after we move C, this is step 1. Okay? That is step 1 right there, right?
Yeah.
So that's not it. And this is a cluster. D is a cluster. That's shortcut. That's reverse what? FOIL. You got to do the FOIL method to get it like this. So that's not it. So which one is the only one that doesn't need step 1 of completing the square?
Answer C.
B. B is like step 3, I think, if I'm reading the question. Okay, I'm sorry, I read the question wrong. Okay, I'm sorry. This is step, like what, 4 or 5? Okay, I misread the question, so it's got to be this. This is step 1. So, my bad, I read the question wrong. So the answer is C. Let's go ahead and do the problem though. What is the problem? X plus X equals 42, right? So X squared, because I'm just going to do the problem, completing the square, plus X plus blank is equal to 42 plus blank. And what's half of 1? Get your calculators out. 1/2. And what's 1/2 squared?
God.
You get your calculator. X plus 1/2 quantity squared is equal to, well, 42 times 4 is 168. That's 168 over 4 plus 1/4. And you might need your calculator for that. X plus 1/2 quantity squared is equal to 169 over 4. And why do you say good at this point? Why do you say, I know what I'm doing? Because 169 over 4 is a perfect what? Square. So at least you know you got a perfect square. That's a good indicator, especially on a homework problem or a test problem. That's a pretty good indicator that you're going in the right direction. All right, so our x-intercept, or what's our y-intercept? What is that? 42? Or 4? What is that? Oh. Negative 42, thank you. X-intercept is negative 42. 0, or y-intercept is negative 42. And then our vertex is -1/2, comma, -169/4. That's our vertex. And then,
So you don't reduce that?
well, you can when you're plotting it, yeah. And here, f of x is equal to x plus 1/2 quantity squared minus 169/4. Okay, now you get, let's do our square root. So x plus 1/2, I'll go ahead and rewrite it so that way you can see what I'm doing. So now we take the square root, and that gives us x plus 1/2 is equal to 13 over what?
2.
And x is equal to positive or negative 13 minus 1 over 2. Calculator time. 13 minus 1 is 12, divided by 2 is 6. And negative 14 divided by 2 is
7, -7.
So now you've got your x-intercepts, 6 and -7. There's your x-intercepts. So we can draw it. The only reason you're drawing it is to make sure that you got the right numbers. So 0, -42 is way down here. -1/2 is over here. And then what's 4 into 4? That'd be 40, what? Down here would be -42.5. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. And then we've got -7 is way over here, and a +6 is over here. So it looks something like this. Of course, mine is way off, huh?
It should be going up.
It should be, because 1 is positive. And of course, you can do your domain and range and all that stuff. Okay, the solution set. Whenever it's asking for the solution, they're wanting the x what? The x-intercepts is what they're wanting. So your answer would be 6, 0, -7, 0. That would be your answer for the solutions. Because whenever they ask for the solution, that is a pinky word for x-intercepts. So we put a 3 in there. And there's your intercepts, 6 and -7. That's a good test question. That's a good question for after. If I do complete the square test, it's going to be 3.1 and 3.2. No, that's the right answer. I typed in 3. Just so, yeah, 6, that's the correct answer. All right. Next question is 3.4. I think I got 2. I got 1 right here, it's 37, and 1 right here, that's number 1. Number 1, 3.4, number 1 in the book, number 1 online. This is a good test question. Why? On 3.1 and 3.2? Yes, because I'm fixing to do what? I'm fixing to do everything. All right?
All right.
And your minimum or your maximum on a parabola is always going to be your what? Your vertex, Hubert. That's right, class. So -2 x squared plus x minus 4 is equal to 0. -2x squared plus x plus blank is equal to 4 plus blank. All right? Take off. Factor out the -2. I mean, how much time to finish this one? shoot. Oh, shoot. Miss Sterling, why didn't you tell me this? I bet you're already gone. You've got to tell me. I want this stupid thing. That's Mr. That's my other class. Okay. No. Which class? Easily. What class are you waiting on?
History 202.
Okay. I'm gonna hang up. I thought another student was up there. Sorry.
All right.
Dang it. If y'all need to Skype in, let me know at the beginning of class. All right. So factor out the -2. That's going to be x squared minus what? 1/2 x plus blank is equal to 4 plus -2 times blank. And remember, whatever you factor out, you have to what? You have to multiply by that right side blank. Now, what's 1/2? I'm going to do this. I'm going to put a baby step in here for you. 1/2 divided by 2 is 1/2 times 1/2, which is 1/4. And 1/4 squared is what? 1/16. All right, we're going to have to stop there because the class, they're going to bust down the door.
Yeah, I'm afraid they're going to do that here.
Yeah, you better. All right, y'all get out of here. We're going to have an in-class pre-test. We're going to have that Thursday, so make sure you're here on time. See y'all.
Wednesday,
whatever time y'all come back. Bye.
bye.
I need to get out of here before they beat the door down.
Change the account now.
Oh yeah, I got to do that, but I ain't got. I'll try to remember to do that. I'm gonna try to remember. Somebody send me an email to remind me.
Change my test grade on that.
I actually
Send me a reminder.
Okay, I also sent you